Hey, so you've probably faced a fair share of challenges when it comes to learning English. Today, we are going to have a look at some of the most common challenges that adult English learners face, and we're going to talk about some practical solutions. So if you feel like you are facing any of these challenges, then hopefully this lesson will help. First, a lack of time. I've heard this one time and time again. I don't have time. Julie, I want to study English, I want to practice English, but I am just too busy. And this might be a reality for you. You might have a full-time job, a family to take care of, responsibilities. Of course, you are busy, and that is totally understandable. But it is important to remember that we all have the same number of hours in a day. And the things that fill up our day might be obligations, you might not be managing your time well. There's lots of different reasons why you feel like you don't have time. However, if English is very important to you and if it is a priority and you really need or want to improve your English, then it's up to you to make the time. I know that that is much easier said than done. It's not easy to make the time, otherwise everyone would. But what you can do is set aside just 10 to 15 minutes every day to do something in English, all right? Now, this could be something like reading an article, watching a video, listening to a podcast, on your way to work while you're having your morning coffee or having breakfast. And I know that 10 or 15 minutes might not sound like a lot or feel like a lot, but it is better than nothing. The goal here is to create a manageable schedule for yourself. And once you can make that 10 to 15 minutes a regular part of your routine, and it doesn't feel like you are taking away time from other things, then you can gradually increase the time, right? So go from 10 minutes to 15 minutes, then go from 15 minutes to 20 minutes, and so on and so on. So the key here, or the trick here, is just to set aside a short time each day, work it into your schedule, and make sure that you stick to that manageable schedule that you set for yourself. Another common challenge is a fear of making mistakes, or letting this fear of making mistakes basically stop you from speaking at all. You're so nervous about making a mistake or embarrassing yourself or people not understanding you that you just don't speak at all. Now, the solution here is to recognize and accept that making mistakes is part of the learning process for anything. So there really is no way around making mistakes. You're eventually going to make mistakes. However, I would recommend practicing your English with other English learners who are in the same boat as you. Practicing with other English learners relieves some of the pressure because you understand how the other person feels. Another challenge is difficulty understanding native English speakers. I hear this one quite often as well. A lot of my students tell me, Julie, I understand you when we are studying or having a class together, but I cannot understand native English speakers. It's so difficult for me. Now, there are a few reasons for this. You might have trouble understanding native English speakers because of how fast they speak, because they're using idiomatic language or expressions or slang. They might be making cultural references or using idioms that you've never heard of. There are also a lot of different accents that native English speakers have. So there are many reasons why it might be difficult for you. So to address this challenge, what you need to do is increase the amount of listening practice that you have and make sure that you are listening to authentic speech, real people having real conversations or real dialogues. So this would be things like podcasts, YouTube videos, tutorials, television shows. These are all fantastic resources, all right? Of course, if you are listening only to material that is intended to study English, that might be slowed down, that might be simplified, it might not be accurate, and it might not be true to real life English. So the key here is to listen to a variety of different accents, a variety of different speakers, and make sure that you are listening to authentic, real speech. Next, we have difficulty with grammar points and verb tenses. Now, if you find it difficult to remember and use the correct grammar, especially when you're speaking, there are some things you can do. Don't worry. So I would recommend, first of all, identifying your weaker grammar points. And you can do this by taking a grammar assessment online. The questions that you get wrong, these are the points that you need to work on, okay? So this is one approach that you can take. Look for a free online grammar assessment, make note of any of the questions you get wrong, and that's the grammar that you're gonna need to start off with, okay? So as an adult English learner, you have probably studied grammar somewhere along the line, maybe in school, maybe on your own, maybe online. So you might have some knowledge of grammar, but your grammar might not be perfect. And if this is the case, what you want to do again is identify the areas that you are weak in, and you want to focus specifically on those areas. I know that there are also a lot of people who never formally studied grammar, who just learned English naturally through maybe living in an English-speaking country or with friends. So they never had the opportunity to formally study grammar, and now they want to kind of fix up their mistakes. If this is you, what you need to do is go back to the basics. Don't be afraid to go back to the basics. Start with verb to be. So your approach to grammar is going to be a little bit different depending on your situation. Again, if you have studied grammar but you have some gaps or some weaker areas, you want to be focusing on those. But if you've never studied grammar before, it would be helpful to kind of go back to basics and brush up on the basics of English grammar, because that will help you to be able to identify your mistakes, to understand why they're wrong, and then be able to correct them, all right? So when it comes to grammar, you need to look at your personal situation and then decide which one of these two options is going to work better for you. Another challenge is limited exposure to English. This means that you might live in a country that is not an English-speaking country. Maybe you do not have friends or family members who speak English. You don't have colleagues who speak English. So you do not have English around you on a daily basis. So in this case, what you need to do is make a conscious effort to make English a part of your daily life. And you can do this by doing the things that you already do on a regular basis in English. So when you read the news, do it in English. When you're on social media, change your settings to English or translate things to English. If you're looking up tutorials or instructions online, do so in English, okay? So the benefit here is that you're not doing anything new. You're doing the things that you already do, but you are simply integrating English into your life and making it possible to expose yourself to English as much as possible. Of course, you can set aside time to do things like watch videos, read, and actually study as well, if you can, of course. Next is a lack of motivation, and this is a big one. I hear this one very often. A lot of people come to me and say, Julie, I don't know where to start. I've lost my motivation. I feel like giving up. I feel frustrated. So if you are experiencing a lack of motivation, it's very important to understand that motivation is simply a feeling that comes and goes. We don't have the same level of motivation as we did when we were kids, because when we were studying as children, we were motivated by external things. We were motivated by our parents, our teachers, getting good grades, whatever the case may be. But now, as adult learners, a lot of times we have to motivate ourselves. And this is where the challenge comes in. It can be very difficult to motivate yourself, or to keep yourself motivated, or to get your motivation back when you lose it, because it comes from within you. So instead of just relying on motivation, it's important to recognize that having clear goals and being consistent, creating a schedule that you can actually stick to, these are practical and realistic things that you can do to help yourself keep going, even when you do not feel motivated, even when you don't feel like it, all right? So consistency, clear goals, and a manageable schedule that you can actually stick to. And another common challenge is, I don't have money. This is also one that I hear very, very often. Now, not everyone always has an available budget to do training or to take classes or to take courses, and I completely understand that. So let's say that you would like to take a course or you would like to enroll in a program, but it's just not in your budget right now. In this case, what you need to do is look for free resources that are available. There are countless very good free resources available. And a great place to start is by going to the profiles of your favorite English teachers online and clicking the links that they have underneath their videos and clicking the links that they have in their Instagram bios. Because a lot of teachers, including myself, have created free resources for you. One example is my free ebook, English Conversations Made Simple. I mention it in every video, and that is linked down below this lesson. So I've written that book specifically to help you have more natural and confident conversations in English, and it is free, okay? I also have Business English Week, which is a series of free business English classes. You can also find that linked down below. As well, you can follow over on Instagram, where I post free tips every single day, all right? So these are just a few examples. When you find a teacher that you like, check out the links that they mention and check out the links that they provide for you, because they have a lot of great free resources. You also have things like podcasts, videos, books, television shows, articles online, social media can be a great tool as well. There are so many resources that you can use to help you improve your English. You just have to think outside the box a little. You might have to make a little bit of an effort to find these resources, but trust me, there are so many. Now, if you do have the budget and you are able to invest in yourself a little bit, I would highly recommend taking classes or joining a course, because it will pay off if you invest in yourself. When you are studying on your own, oftentimes you will reach a limit or plateau. You will improve, but there is a limit. And that's what experts or professionals are here to help you with. So if you would like more information on my classes and my courses, that will all be linked down below as well. So those are some of the common challenges that adult English learners face, and some practical solutions to help you overcome these if you've been struggling with one or more of them. So let me know if there are any other challenges that you are facing, and maybe I can make a video to help you overcome that. Or if you have any questions about anything that we've talked about today, just drop those down below in the comments. So thank you so much for watching, learning, and spending time with me today. I will see you very soon in another one.